New tool belt. Well, I have the rest of the gear, so it would be rude not to. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Now, this is going to be a review of this Milwaukee Electricians Tool Belt. As some of you guys have spotted in some of the recent videos, I do indeed have a new tool belt. I retired my old DeWalt one, which I had for 17 years. It now hangs on the wall. It gets pride of place because I didn't have the heart to throw it out. But after 17 years of service, it's pretty wore out, full of holes, and it was time for an upgrade. And seeming as I had all the rest of the Milwaukee gear, I said, why not? Let's get the Milwaukee's tool belt. So I'll take you through it. I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like about it. It is a major upgrade over my old one. And for those of you who are a little bit impatient, it's a fantastic tool belt. It's a little bit on the heavy side and it's a little bit bulky. But like I say, I'll take you through all that now in a second. But I'm really enjoying it. I really like it so far. Now, I had intended to get some video footage of me doing electrician stuff out on site, up on hoists, 40 foot up in the air, up on ladders, doing the usual kind of stuff that I'm doing with this tool belt. But in the current situation, that's not possible. So you guys are going to have to use your imagination. So let's get on with the review. Okay, here is a close-up of the tool belt itself. So first thing you'll notice is that it can stand up on its own. So it has hardened bottoms on both pouches, so they can stand on their own, which is a nice little feature. So you can kind of use it as a tote bag. If it gets too heavy for you, you want to take it off. Both pouches have handles on them. Both pouches are removable, so you can use them as separate bags by themselves. It's made from a 1680D ballistic nylon, according to Milwaukee. So you can possibly shoot it. I'm not sure, maybe don't try and shoot it, but everything is reinforced on it, triple stitching, and it has all metal fittings, which is really nice. So you have the D-rings here, so if you're really going to load this thing up, there is a set of braces available that you can hang off this, so you can hang it from your shoulders just to take some of the weight. Like I say, it's really well made. It's a two-belt construction, so you have your main belt here, which has your buckle, your two pins, and your two sets of eyes. That runs through everything. Then you have a padded belt on the inside, which everything velcros to, so it's really well nicely secured. It's very, very comfortable to wear, and it's almost like a back support. It is actually a back support built into it. It also has a hammer loop on the back. Now, I never used a hammer loop on my belts before, and I have to say, I was out in an old farmhouse there a couple of weeks ago, and I was using this, and I was clipping a lot of cables, and having the hammer loop there was quite handy. So I'm really enjoying having that on the tool belt. So yeah, like I say, everything is padded. So you can see pads for your legs down on the bottom of the belt. Everything seems to be really well made, and it is really comfortable. So let's have a look at the individual pouches and we'll see what's in them. I should just say, just before we move on, going with the belt again, it goes from waist 30 up to waist 53. So whether you're built for speed or comfort, this should fit. Now, I'll show you it on me in a little while, but I'm 6'2", about 90 kilos, so I'm 200 pounds. I have a 34-inch waist, and I'm almost into the last belt loop on it. So definitely, if you're built like a greyhound, I suggest you try before you buy. And for all my sisters in arms out there who are looking for a tool belt, I would suggest you guys try before you buy as well, because it is a little bit big fitting. And like I say, I'm not exactly a small person, and I'm in onto the last loop. But yeah, when it's on, it is very comfortable and it holds its weight very, very well. So let's get on to the first pouch. Okay, here's a close-up of the large pouch. This is the one that sits on my right-hand side, and as you can see straight away, it is mostly black with red. That's in Europe. I think the ones in America have a red front on them. Now you notice as well that all the Milwaukee pack-out gear and boxes are now coming in black boxes, and the reason for that, I have been told by my subscribers. It's great having subscribers. You can use the hive mind to ask questions, but they've informed me that it is because Hilti has the right to red packaging in Europe. That's why all the Milwaukee gear in Europe is now coming in the black boxes. But I happen to really like the black, all black with the red in it, so that's a win in my opinion. And yeah, it's really nice, really nicely laid out. So let's go through it. So in the front, I just have my T5000 testers. That sits in perfectly there, so it's almost like it was made for it. You have another large pocket to the right here, so I have connectors, bits and bobs in there. It's handy just to reach your hand in there. It's large enough to get your hand in and grab bits and bobs. The rest of it is fairly standard. So I have the trifecta, the pliers, the snips and the long nose pliers sit there. Nice little package for my Stanley knife that sits there. You have the loops in the back again for your screwdrivers. I never use them on a tool belt. I always find the fully insulated screwdrivers never sit into the screwdriver loops properly, but I don't ever use them. They're handy just to leave in this larger pocket area to the side, so I have all the screwdrivers that I need. It also comes with a reinforced hardened pocket right here, so things like your pad saw, your slab knife, your drywall knife, whatever you want to call it, you can drop that in there and not worry about tearing up your tool belt or putting a hole in it. So that's nice to have a hardened pocket. Just to the side then, you have your tape loop, again nice and big, you can get plenty of tape on it. All the attachments are metal, so that's nice. Some place just to hang your keys, little smaller pockets again. My Allen keys fit perfectly in there, and you have another hammer, a material hammer loop, which sits right here. So it's pretty well packed out. You can see tape holder on the side, more loops, more big D-rings if you want to hang stuff off it. It has everything, and you can see the pad on the back here that sits against your leg, so it's extremely comfortable. So that's the front pouch, or the large pouch I should say. Okay, moving around to the other side, this sits on the left hand side, and this is the smaller pouch. Again, this is removable, has handles built into it, so you can take it off if you don't want it on the belt, and you can carry it around. At first, I didn't know what to put in this. I'm not used to having two pouch setup. I had a single pouch for 17 years, and yeah, like I say, at first I was kind of figuring out what way to set this up, but it is actually quite useful. It's nice to have a little bit extra space so I can keep my crimping tool and my pipe pliers. It's not clogging up my other side of my tool belt. They're the tools that I use the most. I keep on the right hand side. These are tools that I use every now and again, but when you need them, and they are with you. So it's not a case of packing out your tool pouch. If you're pulling tools out of your tool pouch and it's pulling a bunch of other tools out with it, then you're not using your tool pouch right, and it can be quite frustrating if you pull something out and a bunch of screwdrivers fall out with it. So it's nice now actually to have the extra bit of capacity, and it balances out the belt itself. So again, it's just a smaller version of the other pouch. So you've screwdriver loops, places to put things. I'm just using them to catch the handles of my crimping tool and my pipe pliers. I have various taps, stubby screwdrivers and stuff that sit in there. Things again that you don't use all the time, but when you need them and you're stuck for them, it's handy to have them with you. I have a torch, I have a voltage finger, and I have various markers and a pen. In the front pouch here then you can see, if you can see that on the camera, there's more little pen holders here. Or you could get maybe some little small little Torx screwdrivers, some technical screwdrivers maybe sit down in there. And this little pouch here would be ideal to stick a notepad in if you need to take notes, wiring diagrams, whatever like that. It's always handy to have that there as well. Again, you have another tape loop, so I just have my Scotch tape, which is the heavy duty insulating tape, rolled sitting on the side of it. You have another big loop here. So for a larger screwdriver, one of your long screwdrivers, maybe a long Phillips or a long big flathead that you might need for trunking or something like that, you can stick that in there when you need it. So yeah, it's a handy little small pouch. Again, it's just a smaller version of the one on the other side, but same materials, just as well made, comes padded, is removable, and it's handy to have. Okay, let's throw this thing on, and this is where it really comes into its own. So like I say, I'm on the last loop, so if you are a bit on the smaller side, definitely try this before you buy, because it is large fitting, but it is quite comfortable and it sits on your hip. It doesn't hang from either side. My last tool belt hung off my leg all day, and that's why it wore a hole eventually over the 17 years. So I wore a hole from this rubbing off my leg. And as any of you guys in the trades will know, whether you're a carpenter or electrician or whatever, if you're carrying a heavy tool belt all day, if you're doing a 10-12 hour day and this is on you all day, it's a relief at the end of the day to take that bloody tool belt off. But this one has a back support, so it's quite comfortable, and it doesn't hang off you either side, and it's balanced. It is heavy, but it carries its weight well, so you don't really feel it. Now, the other disadvantage that I'm noticing, it is kind of bulky. So you've all been there, we've all gone into those houses, maybe a little old lady lives in there, and the house is full of ornaments, statues, things on the wall, everything that's sentimental value that can break, and it's like a trade person's minefield. So you're walking down a narrow corridor and you turn around too fast in this thing, and a porcelain cat is in bits on the floor. And it has happened. It was actually a porcelain penguin, and it was of great sentimental value, and there's nothing worse than having broken someone's ornament and then handing them the bill for the job you've just done. It's quite embarrassing. So it is a little bit on the bulky side, so you just want to be careful when you're turning around. Don't turn around too fast, especially if you're in somebody's house and it's full of ornaments. You will send things flying. But other than that, it is quite comfortable. you have everything you need with you. You really don't feel it, and it is quite comfortable on the back, I have to say. And as they will tell you, 95% of people who work in construction will retire early because of back problems. It is nice to have a back support built into your tool belt. Okay, let's sum up this review of Milwaukee's Electricians Tool Belt. So it is really well made, it is really comfortable, it carries its weight well. Its size is both its advantage and its disadvantage, but you should be okay as long as you stay away from porcelain and penguins. There shouldn't be any issue at all. It's very, very comfortable. Like I say, it's well padded. It has a good back support, which I really, really like. Built-in back support into a tool belt. Once you try it, you won't go back to a standard tool belt after it. Trust me. And this one is really, really comfortable. Again, if you're on the smaller side, definitely try this before you buy. It just fits me when I'm in my t-shirt. Now, it's handy to have the extra capacity if you're wearing a jumper and a jacket. If it's the weather, if it's winter time and you have this on over bulky clothes, it will fit that too. But if in the summertime you're slightly on the smaller side, if you're a female tradeswoman, definitely try this before you buy it, because it may not fit. It may be a little bit on the big side, but other than that, like I say, it carries its weight well, so it is comfortable. It's comfortable to wear all day. I have done about a 10-12 hour day in this thing so far, and I have to say it is a lot nicer to have the balanced weight and the back support rather than having a tool belt hanging off your leg. And it matches the rest of my Milwaukee gear, so I don't look like a complete plonker on site. Or maybe I do, I don't know. Right guys, there you go. That has been my review of this Milwaukee Electricians Tool Belt. Hopefully you found that useful. Hopefully if you're in the market for a tool belt, this will be some helpful info for you. I really, really like it. Milwaukee are making some fantastic tools at the minute. They're really well thought out. I have all their gear. I'm a bit of a fanboy now, I have to say. I've converted over from some other manufacturers, and I have to say their tools are fantastic and they're really well thought out, and this is no exception. It's a major upgrade over my last tool belt. Will it last 17 years? I've no idea. You'll have to check back in 17 years time on this channel, and if I'm still around, that is, maybe the tool belt will be as well. So there you go guys. If this has been useful, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you're not already, comments and questions below, anything you want to know. If you feel I've left something out, if you want to ask another detail about it, feel free, just leave a comment below. I will get back to you, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.